Well, that was quite a day, quite a start. It feels more like a day and a half than one day, although I only saw three of the regular numbered temples, temples 1, 2, and 3, and then visited Aizen In, the Bangai, the unnumbered temple, where I often spend time talking with pilgrims. And I felt like I was going back in time in a way. I felt like I was going back to the beginning, partly because the first time I ever came to Japan, I did experience this pilgrimage a little bit, and I did walk from Temple 1 to Temple 5. In fact, I stayed in an inn over there called Hashimoto Inn, and just before I came here, I stopped by to talk with Rumiko Kuroda, who ran the inn then and now just lives in the rebuilt house and still teaches junior high school students English and math just like she did then. In fact, I remember that first time when I stayed at her house, that first day on the pilgrimage in 1980. She had a class of junior high school students, and I went in and talked with the students for the evening. And this afternoon, she had just two students instead of 6 or 7 like she had that other time. But I talked with those students again, and I felt like I was going back 45 and a half years to the beginning. And then also at Temple 1, I did have a chance to talk with the head priest, who I've known for not quite that long. Let's see, I met him in 1995, so I've known him 31 years. And he became a good friend. I lived at the temple for a while, and we talked for a little bit between ourselves, but for some reason I was followed by several reporters, and they came in, and the head priest, took this opportunity to go off on a tangent. We'd been talking about the wonderful effects that the pilgrimage has on pilgrims, whether they're Japanese or foreign, of course. And he gave basically a half-hour teaching about Buddhism and the pilgrimage. Then after that, I went on to Temple 2 and went through the same English prayer singing routine that I did at Temple 1, that I've worked out over the past year or so with my friend Koei, an American-born Shingon priest who's a wonderful translator of sutras and poetry. So I talked with the head priest there as well, a young guy who talked so quickly. He was really hard for me to follow. His Japanese was as fast as my cousin Kenny's English. My wife can't really understand my cousin Kenny. My wife's Japanese, and Ken speaks so quickly. He's hard to follow, and I felt a little like that trying to follow the priest at Temple 2. But we did have a very productive conversation talking about the problems that foreign pilgrims often have, and what can or can't be done, what, some easy things to do, some more difficult things to do, and how to make things happen. And then lunch, and then on to Temple 3, where we also had I'm saying we, my wife was with me today, and she'll be with me tomorrow as well, but not throughout the pilgrimage. And had another conversation with the head priest. I was really lucky. I got to see all three head priests at the three Fudasho, the three numbered temples, 1, 2, and 3 today. In fact, after that, when I stopped by Aizen In, the temple where I often sit and talk with pilgrims, the head priest was there too. So I was 4 for 4 in head priests today, batting 1,000. I thought I'd only bat about 500 in actually getting to talk with them. So it was a tremendously productive day, but also for me tremendously tiring. So I'm not going to draw out this video much longer. I'll show you a few clips of me singing this English liturgy at some of the temples that I visited today. And I am so thankful Shinen was here before me. setting out the path. We can follow where he led. Follow, always following. These songs are for you, Benzai Ten, Sara, Swati, my song offerings, the music and the chanting, flowing music and poems. Traveling to stand in Shakyamuni's presence on the holy peak, all my numberless misdeeds will be washed away, they say. Okay, so this is a story that takes place about 600 years ago right here. The tower behind me, the pagoda, was going to be built using a big Zelkova tree, which is a kind of elm tree from a village not far from here called Ogiwara, I think. And so they cut down the tree and started building the pagoda. And then a few nights later, one of the houses in the village burned down. And the next night, another house in the village burned down. And the next night, another house in the village burned down. And so they went to the priest and they said, something's wrong here. Why are all our houses burning down? So the priest went over and looked around, and he discovered that where the tree had been growing in the village, there was a hole in the ground, and that hole was the home of a family of tanuki, the raccoon dogs that are famous folktale creatures for Tokushima. So he went through a series of prayers and rituals, and then over behind the temple there, he dug a hole in the ground to build a new home for the family of tanuki. And so that solved the problem. They stopped having fires. And now in the temple office, I think you can still buy little special good luck amulets to prevent fires, to prevent house fires. Temple 2, Gokurakuji, was founded by Gyoki Bosatsu, a couple of generations before the time of Kobodaishi. And when they built the temple, they installed a beautiful image of Amida Nyorai. And the light of his wisdom shone so brightly from where the statue was, just over there, all the way out to the ocean, about 20 kilometers away. And it was so bright that the fishermen started complaining that they couldn't catch their fish at night anymore. So they talked with the priest at the temple and decided that the best thing to do would be to build this hill to block the light. So this hill, apparently, is an artificial hill built specifically to keep the light shining from the statue from interfering with the fishermen 20 kilometers away. At many Buddhist temples in Japan, you'll see this statue of a female goddess playing a biwa, kind of Japanese lute. This is Benzai Ten, sometimes just called Benten. And this figure has a very interesting history. Benzai Ten started out as Saraswati, a holy river in ancient Hindu, actually Vedic mythology. And then she became personified as a goddess of rivers. And because rivers are flowing, she also became the goddess of music and poetry and elegant speech. So So of the songs that I'm singing on this pilgrimage, most of them are traditional Japanese poems, but in this case I actually wrote the words myself because I didn't find a suitable poem. The words I used refer to flowing and music and poetry. Usually statues of Benzai Ten are in a small pond, as here, except there's almost no water today. Often with a beautiful bridge, but completely surrounded by water. And often the most serene part of the temple grounds. The Great Perfection of Wisdom Heart Sutra, spoken by the Buddha, the Bodhisattva, all-seeing Lord, going deeply in perfect wisdom with perception, piercing to the core, saw the 5 heaps as nothing more than emptiness, and crossed away beyond all suffering and dismay. To Shariputra he spoke thus: form is no different from emptiness, and emptiness no different from form. Form is exactly emptiness. Emptiness is exactly form. The same is true for the other 4 heaps: sensation, perception, formations, and mind. Emptiness, O Shari's son, is the nature of every phenomenon, unborn and undying, not stained, not clean, not increasing at all, nor diminishing. In emptiness, thus, no form or sensation, no perceptions, formations, or the mind's ideation, no eyes, no ears, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no object to see, or hear, or smell, or taste, or feel, no realm of sight, and all the rest, to even no realm of consciousness, no delusions, nor any exhaustion of them, no aging or death, nor a hint of their end, no suffering, its causes, nor its fading away, no path to practice, nor wisdom to gain, no attainment at all, and not to attain. The Bodhisattvas, placing their faith in perfect wisdom's great embrace, unsnare their minds, and doing so are free from fear wherever they go. Far removed from all confusion, they dwell in nirvana sufferings. Conclusion: the 3 worlds, myriad enlightened ones, depending on this, the perfect wisdom, awaken entirely, irrevocably, and attain Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. Thus know that this perfection of wisdom is the transcendent incantation, It illuminates all, is surpassed by none, can strip away suffering without exception. It is true and not false, and so I proclaim wisdom's perfection beyond mere word and name. Gate, gate, para, gate, parasam, gate, bodhisvaha. Gone, gone, gone beyond, perfectly gone, bodhisvaha.